Good evening, this is the Oscar expert here with Brother Rome, and the Cannes Film Festival lineup for 2025 has been announced. We're going to go over all of the in-competition films and some other films scattered around that are premiering there. And we're going to tell you what we're excited about, what you should be excited about.
To start off, the opening film is usually not amazing, and I don't really have too much to say about it.
It's based on a short film that the director did that, people liked. It's been logged on Letterboxd a number of times, so it'll probably be a fun, nice opener.
Yeah, maybe a little bit of a palate cleanser before the festival. I gotta say, let's start off with this, because I really want to see Alpha. I want to talk about Alpha. There's a rumor that was offered the opening slot instead of being in competition. And if that is true, that speaks very much to the divisive nature of the film. That the selection committee was not really sure what to make of this. And that is a sign that Alpha is not going to be some kind of consensus Palm winner. And it's a little bit scary, but I'm still really excited about Alpha. It is Julia Ducournau's follow-up to Titan. She also directed Raw, so she's on a great streak of fascinating films that involve body horror, and this one seems a little bit more like a drama, but we don't really know what to expect. We know that it's supposed to be a very personal film.
It's about an 11-year-old girl in a fictional 1980s city inspired by New York. As the AIDS epidemic unfolds worldwide, one of her parents falls ill, and she confronts loss and mortality. You have Tahar Rahim, I assume, as one of the parents. The image looks a little weird.
Yeah, the image looks really strange.
It looks like a painting. I don't know what's going on. If there's weird makeup.
Yeah.
It seems very
hard to say.
Psychological or something's going on. I was wondering, is this more of just a straightforward drama? But no, I think we are getting into those elements of body horror, even if it doesn't fully lean in.
I mean, Ducournau's vision is often uncompromising, and she makes audiences squirm, and there's an absolute joy in that. So I am super excited for Alpha.
Yes.
and as a note, you're not going this year again, but I am going again.
Yes.
Unfortunately, we can't attend together, but perhaps next year we can attend together.
I'm also pumped about Sentimental Value. My first year at Cannes, we had Titan and we had The Worst Person in the World. Two of the best films that have premiered this decade so far, in my opinion, and both the directors are back competing for the Palm once again. Sentimental Value, Neon has it going in, and Neon, we know, won the Palm
and they also had
5 times. They also have Alpha. Sentimental Value seems like it is, consensus-wise, the most anticipated premiere here. It is also a reunion where Joachim Trier is working with Renate Reinsve again, star of Worst Person in the World, won Best Actress last time. It's described as an intimate and moving exploration of family memories and the reconciliatory power of art. It apparently involves Renate Reinsve's character and her sister reuniting with their father, who's played by Stellan Skarsgård. I think that could be a very exciting supporting performance here.
And Reinsve, I think she is one of the best actresses, the most exciting, working right now between Worst Person and Armand.
Maybe this could be an Oscars breakout.
Right.
It's got a lot to live up to, I think, is the trouble. But honestly, when I'm looking at the lineup here, it might be the movie with the most potential in a sense.
I mean, look, for my Oscar predictions, I kind of vowed to just put something in from the Cannes lineup and just see if I'm right. And this is the film that I stuck in. It was probably number 11 or 12 in my predictions, and I just popped it up there. Of all the films in this landscape so far, I just think this has the best shot at breaking out and becoming an awards film. Honestly, if it's not this, and it's not Eddington, I think it's going to be an Anatomy of a Fall or Drive My Car scenario. This is probably the most easy to predict film, and Neon has it going in the door. Neon always has that Palm winner. So either this is going to win Palm, or they're going to acquire something else, and that'll be your Palm winner. That's kind of the trend you can use. Of course, it could go another direction, but it could break. It's an insane streak. The fact that they have a streak for 5 years is absolutely nuts. Eddington is Ari Aster's next film, and interestingly, I think this continues a departure away from horror and more into dark comedy. I think it's going to be more like Beau is Afraid than Hereditary or Midsommar.
But it's kind of a dark comedy western.
Yeah.
Set in 2020 and very much, are the politics that were taking place in America at that time.
Yeah. It has the pandemic. There's a competition for who gets to be the mayor, and the incumbent mayor gets upset when Joaquin Phoenix's character starts to run for office after he takes a stand of wearing no mask during the pandemic. Pedro Pascal and Joaquin Phoenix are the sort of feuding leads at the center of the film. Emma Stone's also in this. Austin Butler has a role. I think this is going to be awesome. And from what I've heard, this is a film that doesn't really take a side. It's more interested in satirizing and commenting on the absurdity of our polarization and of our state. And I just think this is going to be an absolute blast. Like, that's really what I think about this. It's going to be extremely entertaining. It's probably the most entertaining film in this lineup, I would assume. I feel like it's going to polarize people for sure. I think it's going to get a wide variety of reactions and, again, be more like Beau is Afraid. But I really liked Beau is Afraid. So I can't wait to see this.
I'm excited for Ari Aster to be in competition. It's a high honor to be there. I think movies that comment really bluntly on our politics seem to get divisive reactions a little bit, but that's okay. I'm kind of a fan of when people do that.
We got The Phoenician Scheme, which is Wes Anderson. And we've all seen the trailer for this. This is, I think, the only film with a trailer here. The reactions on Twitter are what my thoughts are exactly. Like, okay, it's another Wes Anderson movie. Like, I'm not even listening to like what the plot is this time. I'm just like, okay, I think I know what I'm gonna get, and I'm kind of getting bored of it. But I've never been the biggest Wes Anderson fan in general. I've never been like fully on the bandwagon. And this one just looks like a little worse than some of his others. Like,
I actually don't know if it looks bad at all. I just think that it doesn't look distinct.
I liked Asteroid City a lot. I actually got really like pulled back into Wes Anderson with Asteroid City, I felt. But I don't know if this is going to do that for me. I think it's just going to be yet another Wes Anderson film. That's my prediction.
Yeah, that's how it feels, but I'd love to be... I don't know how I could be proven wrong. Like, it does look like another Wes Anderson film. It doesn't look like he's trying...
People are going to worship the visuals and everything, as they should. Like, his films are made, like nobody else's.
I feel like he has managed to make each one of his movies distinct up until this point.
We got Young Mothers from the Dardenne brothers, which follows 5 young mothers living in a shelter who are striving for a better life for their kids and themselves amongst challenging upbringing. So, the Dardenne brothers are all about that social realism in modern times. This one seems to have no known actors, which is also, par for the course for them. I think this will be very good. They're pretty consistent. I guess they haven't been on like the best streak in recent years. Like, they had a little bit more going around the time when they did like The Kid with the Bike.
2 Days, One Night. Best Actress nominated. And so they've won the Palm before. Like, they've had many movies that were considered some of the best of their year. I don't know if there's filmmakers who have been invited to Cannes more than them. I think this sounds right up their alley, and I'd be excited if I heard that, they were back on their A game for this one.
Yeah. We have Renoir, which is the director's sophomore film. It's a coming-of-age story about resilience, the healing power of imagination, and a family reconnecting.
This is the director of Plan 75, which premiered in Uncertain Regard. This is her second film, so she's been, working up the ranks. A lot of filmmakers start out in Uncertain Regard, then their next film is in competition. Japanese director, Plan 75 was pretty well received. There are some people who swear by that movie, so if this is a step up, then it'll be pretty good.
We have Oliver Hermanos' The History of Sound, which movie has the US distribution rights to, and Oliver Hermanos' last film was Living, which, got Bill Nighy an Oscar nomination. And this really sounds like prestige Oscar bait, very much in the vein of like other British films that have been nominated for Oscars. It takes place during World War I, and it is about 2 men who fall in love while traveling to record stories and songs for their countrymen.
They shot it in Maine. They're going to be walking in the woods a lot. This is not like a gunfire World War movie. It's probably more like an Ammonite.
We got Josh O'Connor and Paul Mescal in the lead roles as the 2 men who fall in love. It sounds really good.
It's based on a short story that's acclaimed as well. And Oliver Hermanos, between Living and, I watched a couple of trailers for his other films. Like, he's got great visuals. Living also had a really good score. So it'll be a very competently made movie.
Yeah.
Will it be one of the best of the year? I'm a little more skeptical. I mean, I am surprised that it landed in competition. That's a great sign. I thought that would really be good. Out of competition. I didn't know Cannes was looking at Oliver Hermanos that way, but maybe this movie has some juice.
Surat, which is Oliver Lax. The director's had a couple other films, 3.4 and 3.6 on Letterboxd. He competed for the Uncertain Regard in 2019, about a father who is looking for his missing daughter in North Africa with his son. Not really much else to glean from this. Like, we just kind of have to wait and see what the response is going to be, really. But there is one film this year that people knew was going to get in the competition without any kind of like prior metrics to go off of. Like, they knew it was going to get in because there are rumblings that this film is very, very good.
I believe it. I've heard it from enough directions that I'm like, okay, this is going to be perhaps one of the 90 on Metacritic movies that comes out of here. It's Sound of Falling by Masha Shalinsky, who actually discovered Helena's Angle, I guess you could say. Her debut film in 2017 starred Helena's Angle. It had it has pretty good reception, but This sounds like it's going to be on a whole new level. It follows 4 girls in 4 different decades growing up on a rural farm who seem to be connected to one another. It also seems like the runtime might be 2.5 hours, pretty ambitious, spanning different decades, 2.5 hours long. That's perfect for the Cannes competition, if you ask me. German filmmaker. Cast isn't really well known. Could be this year's All We Imagine Is Light.
I'm just inclined to believe the hype, and I really am looking out for this as a potential Palm winner. Neon acquires this. I'm going to take that as a sign to run with it.
Oh, yeah. In terms of what could win the Palm, I would say a criteria that I sometimes look for is the movie kind of provocative? They don't usually give it to something that's just sort of easygoing. Anatomy of a Fall sparked a lot of discussion. Honora is very just kind of hitting you with sex, and Teton's crazy, and Triangle of Sadness is crazy. They go with crazy movies. So this is why I actually don't know if I would say Sentimental Value seems up the alley of a movie that would win the Palm. And maybe this movie, which is, more ambitious in terms of the kind of story it's telling, could be a Palm winner. I don't really have a strong hunch about maybe what would win, but I guess that'd be my prediction for now. Yeah. I don't know if maybe they'd want to go with a filmmaker that's a little more established.
You got New Wave from Richard Linklater, who is doing a French language film about the making of Jean-Luc Godard's Breathless. It stars Zoe Deutsch as the lead actress. Just off the cuff, I think I'm going to predict that maybe she wins the Best Actress prize at Cannes. I think she's going to be competitive for that.
Well, we don't know if it's going to follow her more so than the Jean-Luc Godard actor.
I think she's the... Well, that's
I
true.
don't think she's the main lead.
It could be more about the director. That's true. Like many of Linklater's other films, probably a little bit of a hangout comedy. It's probably really fun, and I think it's just gonna be very good. I think it's gonna be very, very well received. I don't think it'll be considered the best movie of the year, but I think it will have a lot of 8 out of 10.
I think that critics might eat it up because I think Linklater's perspective on the New Wave really comes from the heart. He's a filmmaker who has built up the credibility to tell a story about such a legendary film.
Yeah, clearly inspired by
And I think it'll be very intelligently done, but understated in that Linklater way. I wouldn't go as far as to say this is necessarily a big Oscar movie, even though, it's about filmmaking, it's black and white, 4x3 and all this stuff.
It'll probably be shot kind of like Breathless, I imagine. I wouldn't be surprised if they use film and everything. We got a film called Two Prosecutors from Sergei Loznitsa, who has done many, many films. He's been invited to Cannes previously.
He's competed for the Palme 3 times in the past.
3 times. And all of his films are pretty consistently very acclaimed. I'm looking out for this film to see if it's good.
It's about a young prosecutor who challenges the system during Stalin's Great Terror in 1937. And pretty much all of this director's films are very political. So this is very much up his alley, it sounds like.
We have Furio from Mario Martone, who also has an extensive body of work and competed for the Palme twice, as well as the Instant Regard Award once. And this filmmaker is also pretty consistent just from their Letterboxd scores. I've never seen their films. It's about a female writer who goes to prison and forms a friendship with the other inmates. And that one will probably be solid, given the director's track record and their consistency.
And it stars Valeria Golino, who we recognize from Maria, and also, was in Rain Man back in the day.
Then we have The Secret Agent from Kleber Mendonça Filho. This was the director of Bacurau, which was a fascinating and unconventional and also hyper-violent Brazilian film. He also directed Aquarius. Both of those films competed for the Palme.
All of his films are very acclaimed. Very consistent director.
Yeah.
The synopsis is, under the threatening specter of 1977 Brazil, we meet Marcelo, a man in his 40s, who is trying to escape a violent past. It may be 2 hours and 40 minutes, if what I'm hearing is correct.
It stars Wagner Moura, who you may know from Civil War. And, I'm Still Here put Brazil and its politics on the map, and this is another political thriller. I think this film is going to be really good. I have no reason to doubt it. It's definitely one of my most anticipated.
Perhaps the Best Actor contender, too.
We have Dossier 137 from Dominique Moll. He's competed for the Palme twice. Those films had a 3.4 and a 3.6 on Letterboxd.
His last movie, which did not compete for the Palme, has an 81 on Metacritic and swept the Caesar Awards. It seems like he has done mystery films in the past. This is a crime mystery investigative drama with Leah Drucker, who was excellent in Last Summer, if you've seen Last Summer. I'm happy to see a great actress in the lead role. It'll probably be a really solid movie.
Yeah, it's like an investigative crime drama. And maybe the lead performance is going to be great.
You have Eagles of the Republic from Tariq Saleh. He did Cairo Conspiracy, which was in competition a couple years back.
Got a 3.5.
It won the Screenplay Award, if I recall. It's another Egyptian movie about an actor who's on the verge of losing everything.
I think it's kind of like his 2022 film where it's about political corruption. That one will probably be solid. We have A Simple Accident, which is from Jafar Panahi. His most recent film was No Bears, which is a really strong half documentary, half fiction film. Jafar Panahi is one of these Iranian filmmakers who is being persecuted from the government, and he is making films in secret. He also is probably most well known for his film Taxi, which he made using hidden cameras.
And This Is Not a Film was big, I remember. He's very consistent. Most of his movies are in like the 3.8 to 4.0 range on Letterboxd.
I mean, No Bears was really good. And he also does like kind of a hybrid of documentary and fiction, and he often like puts himself in the films, again, because he is like operating in doing these films in complete secrecy. He has a fascinating filmography. I am really looking forward to this film.
There is nothing known about it.
There's nothing known about it.
It was made in secret. We don't know if it's a documentary.
Actors.
We don't know anything. So it's exciting.
We have The Mastermind from Kelly Reichardt. Obviously, Kelly Reichardt, huge name in the independent American film scene. And, this could be her time to win an award from Cannes as well. Sometimes they just like to give you an award if you've been there enough times, and she's competed for the Palm. And Wendy and Lucy was in the In Certain Regard section. This one stars Josh O'Connor, Alana Haim. It is on my radar as like a potential Oscar film, but Kelly Reichardt's films tend to be very much her own style, and they're kind of uncompromising. This film is an art theft heist, and it's set against the backdrop of the Vietnam War. Kelly Reichardt's no stranger to period films or heist films, and I expect this will be very good.
It has a really good cast. Aside from the two you mentioned, there's John Magaro, Gabby Hoffman, Bill Camp, Hope Davis. Mubi has the U.S. rights to this one. Is there a world where Kelly Reichardt wins the Palm, wins over critics, and then gets an Oscar nomination?
Yeah.
I mean,
there's a world. I don't know.
Could be. She won the New York Film Critics for First Cow, and they didn't touch that movie. I mean, it would be exciting, though, if she were to have a big moment here.
We have Romaria from Carla Simon, and this is the director of Alcaraz and Summer 1993, both of which were very acclaimed films. Alcaraz has an 85 on Metacritic, 3.7 Letterboxd. Summer 1993, 81 on Metacritic, 3.9 Letterboxd. So this filmmaker has a great track record. So this film is probably going to be really good.
It's about a girl who was orphaned at a young age who needs a signature on her scholarship application. So she has to go find her real parents and starts reconnecting with all these family members that she'd never known before. You may be wondering, where's Die My Love from Lynn Ramsey? We were widely rumored that was going to premiere. I still think it probably will show up. There's always a couple late editions. There's only 19 films here. Usually there's like, 22. Just over 20, 21, 22 movies. Yeah. Apparently Die My Love was not quite finished to show it to the selection committee. It's very possible that it could be added on as a late edition once it is done. Die My Love has Jennifer Lawrence, Robert Pattinson, Nick Nolte, and Sissy Spacek. It's a psychological drama about postpartum depression, and this could definitely get some critics excited. It also sounds like the kind of punchy and artistic movie that could very well compete for a big prize there. Another movie that has a smaller chance of being added later is Park Chan-wook's No Other Choice. I was really hoping this would be in the lineup, but reports were saying that it wasn't even submitted to Cannes, as it's still in post-production, and, this movie may just go to Venice. That's where The Handmaiden went. But apparently Cannes is open to, if he finishes his movie, even past the deadline, they'll, open the gate for him. I wouldn't get your hopes up for that one, but that's the status on it. There might be another late edition, but I'm not aware of what it would be. There's usually 2.
Now, before we do In Certain Regard, which is like the sidebar competition at Cannes, we should really talk about the premiere films here. Highest to Lowest is premiering at Cannes, but it's not in competition, which really, to me, reads kind of like a rejection. I mean, Spike Lee led the jury a few years ago, and now he's relegated to an out-of-competition slot at Cannes. It feels wrong.
Yeah, BlacKkKlansman was in competition.
Yeah, so if this film was really good, you bet your ass it would have been there, and apparently Spike Lee was trying to urge them to put it in there, and it just didn't happen. So, guys, I'm sorry, but highest to lowest, even though I will see it, it doesn't sound like it'll be great, unfortunately. Now, I also do know that Washington is the lead. I think we gave some misinformation about that. I have heard since that A$AP Rocky is supporting, and it's definitive. So that is not a great sign for that film, but we will be checking it out at Cannes.
Another premiere that I thought would be in competition is Private Life from Rebecca Zlotowski. None of her films really have gotten unanimous acclaim, but this one had Jodie Foster, Virginia Efira, and Daniel Auteuil. So I was eyeing it a little bit. Another film that was rejected from competition, I guess, is Kirill Serebrenikov's new film, Disappearance, he's been in competition 4 times. And for divisive movies that, like, not everybody likes. So what did this one do where they didn't even put it in competition?
Well, apparently it's about, like, a Nazi doctor. Yeah. So I think it might be divisive, and they looked at last year's Limonov, and they were like, I don't know if we need to give him, like, another competition slot. I don't know, it just kind of tells me that, like, that film might not be totally worth seeing. And especially, I didn't love Limonov, so. There's also a screening of A Magnificent Life. This is in the special screenings category, so I'm not sure how many there will be. But this film actually seems like it's tipped to be an animated feature contender. The director did The Illusionist, and he's been nominated for 4 Oscars. We have Sebastian Lelio's The Wave, which I expected would be in competition. I think it's kind of weird that it's not in competition, actually. This is the director of A Fantastic Woman, which won the Oscar for International Film. It's about a Chilean student who involves herself in a feminist protest, and it is apparently a musical. I know this is giving people Emilia Perez vibes. I know people are, like, thinking this might be, you know, maybe an international breakout, but this is kind of, like, ambiguous. I mean, films get placed out of competition for a variety of reasons, but I do have a hard time seeing why this wouldn't be in competition.
Sebastian Lelio's films have never been programmed at Cannes before. It's possible that they see this as being a little bit more of like a commercial, sort of like not competition flavored movie, but
I think you're coping.
Still worth premiering.
I think that's cope.
I mean, Close Your Eyes was not in competition, and there's no explanation for why that didn't show up in the competition. Sure. That was bizarre. The final Mission Impossible movie is also going to be here. The past 3 films have been like high 90s on Rotten Tomatoes. If this is the same or even a little bit better, do you think there's a chance that it becomes this year's Top Gun Maverick? I actually hate saying this year's Top Gun Maverick because I don't think it's going to happen again.
No,
but
forget that.
And then people also are like, oh, well, it's the last movie of the franchise. They always will go for the last movie of the franchise. Like, when?
Listen.
Literally when? They didn't do it for Harry Potter, even though that was the most acclaimed one.
This is just a win-win because the Mission Impossible films get very good reviews, very consistently. Cannes gets to premiere, they get to attract media and press to their film festival with Tom Cruise.
They do one blockbuster every year.
Yeah, they do a blockbuster every year.
There's Indiana Jones. They did a Fast and Furious movie. So
it's just like, it makes sense. It's not surprising that this is out of competition here. It's a win-win for everybody. That's that. I wouldn't like read too deeply into it.
No, it's not even about reading into it. It's just that the movie might be very good and people might feel a little bit more emotionally attached to the other movies.
No, well, I don't know about that. I don't know about that. I just think it's going to be, it just sounds like it'll be very good. There's some midnight screenings that I think are pretty interesting. There's one that's a video game adaptation, and the premise of the video game is it revolves around a player walking through a Japanese metro station, trying to spot inaccuracies to reach the exit of the station. It seems like it'll be really fun. And the director also has a previous film with a 3.5 on Letterboxd. There's also a film called Sons of the Neon Night. The director's previous film was also like a horror film, and it had a 3.2 on Letterboxd. This is more of like a crime drama, and you know, from the little images that do exist, it actually seems like very striking, the cinematography. So I'm kind of interested in that one. And last year's Midnight films were overall pretty good, pretty solid.
Amrum from Fatih Akin is out of competition. Her last film, In the Fade, was in competition. Again, not a great sign that someone previously out of comp is relegated to a non-competition slot. Orwell is a documentary that Neon has from the director of I Am Not Your... If you know, you know. Oscar-nominated documentary. And, you know, the Neon distribution caught my eye.
We have Splitsville, which is from director Michelangelo Covino. This is the director of The Climb, which was a very good film. It's a great comedy, and his style is many long takes, which is very delightful to see. And this one stars Adria Arjona and Dakota Johnson. So it'll probably be a very funny, very acclaimed film.
Nicholas Braun is in it too. And Neon has this. The Climb was also about like kind of weird relationship, friendship dynamics.
This one's about an open marriage thrown into chaos. It sounds very fun. Yeah. I'm really looking forward to this one.
Yeah, that one seems like a highlight.
And other than that, we have the Uncertain Regard section, which mostly this is going to feature filmmakers who are not on most people's radars. I would say about half of these, it's like the debut film of the filmmaker. There's Once Upon a Time in Gaza from twin brother filmmakers Arab and Tarzan Nasser. These filmmakers have been making films about Gaza for their whole filmography, and this one is a revenge thriller. And their last film has a 3.7 on Letterboxd, so I'm going to try to check that one out. We got Eleanor the Great, Scarlett Johansson directing, June Squibb starring. That's a good sign. They could have just rejected this.
It's also Sony Pictures Classics. June Squibb, Dark Horse Best Actress. Sure.
Yeah.
Why not? It's going to be a charming... It seems like a TIFF movie, okay? Yeah. So I don't know. No, that's interesting that it's here. This is kind of unusual. It's like about an old woman who makes like a young friend. So it just sounds like it's a recipe for a charming movie.
Harris Dickinson's directing a movie. It's his directorial debut. That's all we can say about that film.
Urchin. It's about a homeless person who is struggling to break free from a cycle of self-destruction.
We got a film called Homebound, which the director has some very highly rated films on Letterboxd, but it's like not all extremely consistent. But that could be one to look out for.
Pilion is a film that A24 has from director Harry Leighton. It has Alexander Skarsgård and Harry Melville. It is a debut. It's like a queer biker love story about a wandering soul. That might be good. That could catch some attention. You know, A24, it sounds like it's up their alley. They always have something, you know, lurking around. Like last year they had Guinea Fowl. There's The Plague, which is a debut film. It's about a tween at a water polo camp. Joel Edgerton's in it. That's all I have to say about it. Also, Elliot Heffernan is in it, of Blitz fame. Still to come will be the Critics Week and Directors Fortnight lineups. Those always produce, you know, a couple really good movies every year. I mean, Ethos premiered there. Ethos was great. After Sun premiered in Directors Fortnight. I remember The Sweet East was a highlight.
Universal Language. Universal Language is great. And I will be staying the entire time this year, so I don't miss, if there's an equivalent this year, I won't miss the last couple days where last year they premiered Imagine is Light and The Seed of the Sacred Fig. So I will be able to see pretty much everything that I want to see. And Cannes starts on May 14th. So we got like 1 month. This is so exciting. In the meantime, you can go onto Award Expert and predict the in-competition awards at Cannes Film Festival. The first year that we're doing that.
I would say most likely 2 films at this point for awards attention, just off my hunch. Sentimental Value, for obvious reasons. You got an actress, you got Stellan Skarsgård, maybe even a supporting actress.
Previous attention from the Academy.
Previous attention, worst person in the world. If Neon pushed that harder, it could have gotten into Best Picture, I swear by it. I would just say Sound of Falling seems like, you know, it could win the Palm. Yeah. So that would automatically put it in contention, perhaps. If that wins Palm, would I predict it? It depends on what the movie's like. I know that some people are going to throw the movie in no matter what. Like, it's the People's Choice Award winner. Mm-hmm. But if All We Imagine Is Light won the Palm, I don't think it would have made it into Best Picture still.
I don't think so either.
It could have had a better shot, but I would still take it on a case-by-case basis. If Titan came out again and won the Palm again, it wouldn't have been nominated again. But we'll have you to make sure that we know what's going on and to try to not underestimate films, because almost every Cannes Oscar contender gets underestimated on some level or another. I mean, even Anora, most people were like, okay, picture, director, screenplay, actress.
People thought that was getting nominated. They didn't start to think it would win until the Fall Fest came around and nothing else emerged.
No one thought that was winning 5 Oscars.
No.
Zone of Interest was a big Oscar contender. Anatomy of a Fall was bigger than people anticipated. The Substance, Emilia Perez, much bigger than anticipated.
Right.
You know, how do you find that Cannes contender? Because last year we also had Sacred Fig and All We Imagine Is Light last year that people were wondering, oh, is this a Cannes film? And I think the main issue with those 2 films was that they didn't have any strong acting prospects. They had good performances, but nothing was obviously getting nominated there. So it was like, okay, is that just going to do like picture, director, screenplay? And
right. And like all you could come up with was picture, director, screenplay for those films. You know, and Drive My Car did happen, but
that's true. Drive My Car did it. So I guess
it's like, it's totally possible, but it really helps to have another nomination in there. And
generally though, like if something seems like it's building steam for, oh, maybe it could get like, oh, you know, maybe Zone of Interest can get like directing and maybe cinematography or something. And it's like, no, it gets the full package. I guess it missed some text. And then there's like, oh, Anatomy of a Fall, well, that can get maybe actors and screenplay. And then it's like, well, at that point, throw it in. Or Emilia Perez, it's like, well, maybe it'll get Saldana. And, you know, no, you just throw the whole thing in there, basically. I guess The Apprentice got 2 acting nominations without anything else. But, you know, I guess that made sense. Anyway, you'll be having your thinking cap on. Oh, we've learned a lot of lessons, especially with The Substance, about how anything can happen out of Cannes.
Anything can happen.
In a sense. Thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing.
Which films are you most excited about?